Hello everyone, this is Raphael from iCuretech, and today we're going to replace the screen on the iPad mini. As you can see in the right top corner, we have a crack, and we're going to take care of that today. So just power it off your iPad and let's get started. So first you're going to use your heat gun to relax the adhesive underneath the glass. You're going to want to start opening from the top of the iPad. And in our case, we're going to start from where the crack is. In our case, we're just going to try to slowly peel off the glass to get to the black adhesive, and then you're going to put your spudger underneath the adhesive, and that will allow you to actually remove completely the glass out of the body. It's just a cleaner removal, as you'll be able to see here in the video. In our case, the glass isn't too badly shattered, so it looks a lot easier. But even if it's cracked, it's still easier to just get your spudger underneath the adhesive. And then do the same thing on the other side. Just heat up the glass just to probably cool down. And again, the metal spudger in between the glass and the bezel, and just and just go to the camera lens. Don't go over the camera with the first one. And then when you put the other side, I like to just give it a small twist to actually release the glass from the camera area. And after that, we're going to put plastic spudgers to remove the glass, to lift the glass from the sides, and you'll see that in a second how. So again, heat up the adhesive, and having half of the spudger out, just push throughout the whole length of the glass, and make sure your spudger is underneath that black adhesive again. That will just help lift off the glass a lot cleaner. And you can see I'm able to just pull out to the end. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, heat up the other side, and just over here you'll be able to see that spudger is underneath the adhesive, and that just makes the whole job a lot easier, because the adhesive is actually pulling up the glass out. Of course, if your glass is cracked, it's gonna be a lot harder. And then just heat up the bottom, and in this case we're able to just lift up the glass without any problems. It's a good idea to have something to lay the glass on. You shouldn't have it totally flat because the wire is pretty short. And then you're gonna remove the covers for the screws, and then you're gonna remove 4 screws for the LCD, and then remove 3 adhesive that are attached to the LCD. I use the cardboard to protect the LCD, and just heat up the adhesive. It just makes it a lot easier to remove it. And after that, you're gonna put your thin spudger, and you're gonna want to pry out the LCD gently. On the sides of the LCD there are small adhesive strips, so you want to kind of break them. Now you want to just do it slowly and just go halfway to the LCD. You're gonna see here it just enough to kind of have it lift. Do the same thing on the other side. Just put the spudger in between the plastic and the metal, and just kind of be on the side, and just and just pry it out a little bit. Just don't push it too hard, because you're gonna crack the LCD. And once you get to halfway on both sides, then you're able to grab both sides and just pretty much lift the whole LCD up. It's not that hard. Now you're gonna remove 16 screws that are holding the shield. I'm using a screwdriver from Ace Hardware. It's very cheap and does a really good job, so I definitely recommend that one. Then remove your metal shield like so, and then you can have 3 screws holding the cover for the connectors. Just 3 screws. And then unplug the battery, LCD, and your digitizer. I'm gonna use a little bit of heat gun to relax the adhesive underneath the IC board. Makes it a lot easier to just remove it. And then you're just gonna want to remove the remainder of the glass, whatever condition your glass is. So now we're gonna work on the removing the board from the old glass. So put some flux and put some solder on the pads. That'll make it easier to separate the flex cable from the board when you're using your hot air station. That's what we use here at around 350C, and it just the solder melts and just makes it a lot easier to separate it. Now there is some glue underneath the flex, so you can see I'm having the camera, so it's kind of hard to do it with your hands. Then remove 2 adhesive strips and save them because you're going to reuse them. Heat up the flex cable and the bracket, and pretty much start with removing the home button bracket, and then you slowly want to remove the flex cable from the glass. It is attached with adhesive. Use a little bit of heat gun and then unfold the home button flex cable. Now you're gonna see 2 layers. You want to go underneath the second layer and then pry it out. And then you're gonna use a little bit of flux and a little bit of solder, and you'll be able to actually separate the flex cable from the digitizer. And then you want to remove your old home button and clean it, so it looks nice on the new glass. At the end, use a little bit of heat gun and remove the long tape along with the magnet. And then there's part 2 for assembly.